Okay, we'll try that again. Yes, we've been executive session, and now we're ready for regular session. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Radar, any public comment?
No.
Okay, consent agenda. Chair will accept a motion.
I'll make a motion. We accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. No student representative tonight, so we will move on to new business. MSBA policies first reading.
Yes, the administration recommend the first passage of policies 24B. There really a lot of differing policies here for the board to look at. Some of it has to do with closed session and security and what can be in where in the past maybe not qualified to be discussed in a closed session now can be, such as plans, identifying buildings and procedures that we have for the school. Also, we have a policy in regards to tuition where we have students that may be in a residential facility that reside within the school district. That district can then turn around and charge back the student's home district. And so there's some clarification due to state statute, which was House Bill 447. So in the past, there's been situations where districts want to charge or other districts would not pay. And so they're trying to remedy that matter. Also, we talked about this previously, but the Wrap Back program, as far as people in fingerprints and being able to automatically notify school systems in regards to persons that may have been fingerprinted, but then something happens after they've been fingerprinted and then that comes back, I believe, to HR. We'll see that. So that is there for your reading pleasure. And let's see. Also, we have a policy in regards to students that are adults that in previous have been in attendance will then now have to, in essence, clear a background check to be on school property, which is due to legislation. And then there is also observance of STEM in March is one of our policies. That was also a statute that was passed due to legislation. I'm trying to think, I believe that is it, unless anyone has any other questions in regards to first read for policies 24B.
Chair will accept a motion.
Motion to approve the first readings of the policies as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the MSBA policies first reading as presented. Any discussion?
Mr. President, I did fail one. We actually have new legislation in regards to IEPs and 504s and keeping those records permanently, where in years past, we would destroy those after what year, Ms. Pruitt?
We would do it after 7 years.
Mike.
It used to be we'd do it after 7 years and then they moved it to 3. And now we keep them permanently as part of their cumulative school record. It can be an electronic copy and but it has to be their evaluation report, the most recent one, and their most recent IEP or 504 plan.
Okay.
So that you'll see that policy in the packet as well. So my apologies for forgetting that one.
All right. Well, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Job description.
Yes, I just have an updated job description for you for a secretary's benefits position. The administration asked the board to approve the updated benefits secretary job description as presented.
Motion to approve the job description for benefits secretary as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the job description of the secretary for benefits as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Some miscellaneous dates. October 24th and 25th, no school for parent-teacher conferences. October 28th through the 29th is Belton High School Picture Day. October 28th, November 1 is Red Ribbon Week. October 29th is the Belton High School Theater Playwriting Showcase at 7. October 30th is the Fall Jazz Band Concert at 6. November 1 is no school for a staff PD and collaboration day. November 7th through the 9th is Mary Poppins at the high school. November 8th for the board members is the Board of Education tours. November 9th is the Turkey Bowl. Hopefully everybody will get a team going at Aaron's Family Fun Center. And November 15th is the Senior Citizens Luncheon that we do every year at the Field House. Any dates that the chair missed?
November 4th is a town hall meeting for our community's involvement about Belton Cares drug and mental health awareness.
Okay, any others? Moving on. So we all attended the MSBA annual conference this past weekend. And as always, I like to put on here a little recap for anybody that so that we can talk about it if we would so desire. I'll start. In 8 years as board president, I've attended many of the board president's roundtables. And I told MSBA this was by far the best president's roundtable that I've ever attended. It was well done. And it had a graphic that I thought was interesting, and I'd sent it to Dr. Underwood, and I think I showed it to Karen and to Norm at breakfast the next day. But that was the recap for that. So that would be the one that I thought was good. There were some good classes, that all the speakers were good, and the Saturday night speaker that I was there for brought me to tears. So I was glad nobody was there. That was I left there bawling pretty hard, but that was a good MSBA meeting in my opinion. So anyone else?
I went to a couple of advocacy ones I thought were pretty good. North Kansas City was the main one. You know, they kind of set up an agenda and do different things. They actually have a person that specifically does this job, like goes to Jefferson City. They're like, that's their job and stuff like that. But the best ones I went to was one of them was a future school safety. It was a panel of the two gentlemen from MSBA, then a first responder and a police officer that was, he does national work and things like that. And it was just interesting to listen to them about things. And the thing that shocked me the most is that police officer, and I think I mentioned that to Dr. Underwood and Jerry and a few others, that he did a building tour of a high school in the area. That was a big plant, like big base, 5 open prop doors just in his tour. And they talked about that. That was probably the biggest issue of school safety was prop doors. How people are getting in. So it was pretty interesting. And then they talked about something called ValorNet that's going to be coming out. That's going to be a different way of kind of doing things safety wise, and includes mental health and things like that. So that'll be interesting to see how that comes out. Of course, they could have been selling us too. So, but they were pretty high on it, all of them up there. So
I went to several classes that I thought were really good, but I took advantage, and I think several of us here did. I took advantage of going to the AI symposium, and I'm so glad that I did that. I've always had a concern about the plagiarism or how the kids are getting their information and, you know, not really writing the text or the essays or whatever. And it was very impressive to hear them talk about, you have to educate the students how to use it. And I'm think Mary's one that said this, and I'm going to steal it from her because it was a great analogy. That chat BGT or however it says is kind of like our encyclopedias. So we went to the encyclopedias and we dug out the information and we noted what we did and where we got it. And this is, you know, those things are gone. You students probably don't even know what an encyclopedia is. But that's where they get their information. And then I like the idea of them having to state, I got it from this, and this is, you know, recording all of your things. So it was very, very enlightening. It's very scary too, because there's a dark side to it. And that was scary, but I thoroughly liked what I heard about teaching students how to use it.
Piggyback off that, coming from my background, I look at Bloom's taxonomy. Chat GPT is the bottom 2 levels. That's where GPT fits. And then when you go further up to do your evaluation, your synthesis and all of that, that's where that's been a resource to keep you out of the mundane, but give you the information to go higher until you reach the top of that pyramid. And so I truly believe that AI, the generative piece, especially because you don't get the same response every time you ask a question. If it's generative, and people don't realize that, they think if you go in and you ask it a question, you're going to get the exact same answer every time, but you're not. And so that helps give you that information to succeed at those higher level things. So that's why I don't think AI scares me as much as I thought it was going to. And I went to the same, and they had breakout sessions, so we were all able to kind of go to different ones and see different things. And so I think all of us that went came back with a maybe not a different perspective, but a better perspective of what we went in with.
I would have to agree with Jerry. This was a really, really great conference that we attended, and we've been to a handful of them. Went to the board advocacy as well, and it's really interesting as you go to a lot of these and you'll pick up a couple of tidbits of information, but overall, the majority of the things that they said for your board advocacy on a state level, we're already doing. One thing that they did have was a cool little spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet that I had shared with you guys about, where they track every single bill. And we actually have that Google link available to us now. So just for example, if it's gun related, you can filter it through that and you can see what it's doing daily down at the state level. So that was really interesting. I'd also never attended a Misha, however you want to say it, tomato. That was really interesting. I did not understand how that was structured and how they implement, and even how the districts are the ones who enact changes within that organization. They basically are just the parents of all the schools saying, hey, these are your rules that you made yourselves, and we're making sure that you follow them because you don't trust yourselves. There has been some recent changes there to reflect some of the big changes that we're seeing within student behavior. That has never been a problem within our sports community and our activities community, which is just a common everyday concern now within, I mean, actually nationwide. So that was interesting as well. I also think that the guest speaker was very good on Friday, right? It was Friday, the one we were talking to. Yes. And really goes to show the impact you can make on these students every day. The one thing that I still am lacking, and I put this on my feedback every time on both state and national level, is bridging the COVID gap. I have yet to see a hyper focus on that. We see a lot with AI, which is a big part of what's going on in the school, but like, it's like the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about.
How a lot of students are still struggling to bridge that 1 and 2 year gap. And they're still just behind. So how does the teacher get them caught up, and depending on where they are in their education as to like who the responsibility falls on. So that would be really nice. I'm about to ask AI how we fix it. So
Jim?
Well, some of the sessions that I attended the Misha one, fact or fiction, and several things opened my eyes. I go, didn't know that. But anyway, I went to the Missouri budget 2025 and how the state is going to be cutting so much money and where the cut's going to come from. And I'm going, what are you going to do? And then 7 opportunities of a Senate Bill 727 preparing for costs that some of these things are mandated but not funded. So they're going to be responsibilities of the school districts. And I think, I believe it was it might have been the Missouri budget where they said that some school districts are going to have to raise their levies as much as 69 cents. And yeah, that small districts only have 250 students. That's going to be huge. Yeah. And then I went to a exploring MSBA's new superintendent evaluation. And from what I heard about, I'm not judging. From what I heard that what's going on, I think it's a whole lot better than when we first started this whole process. It looks like it's going to be very promising since there's input from DESE, MASA, and Missouri school boards. And it's kind of nice to ask the superintendents what do they think of how they should be evaluated. And we hear that perspective. But anyway, that's all I have.
Yeah, and I attended that one, and they didn't think that anything was going to come out of that until March at all. So on your student, there was one on Saturday afternoon, which was put on by a group that knows you, Dr. Mock. They said to tell you hello, and I can't remember her name. I didn't bring the card. MLDS. They are addressing this MLDS is. And I was going to ask you if we have any of our principals doing that, because they talk like you did. But
yes, we have Mr. Cummings and Dr. Winkleman in that program.
okay.
which, and I know that I have brought the same talking point up after conferences in the past, and it was the same thing. There's some different PD opportunities for you guys, trying to figure out what to do with the COVID gap, but just not at our level. Have we seen anything as a board? What actions can we take? Additional resources, technology development, things of that nature on our level to support those efforts.
And then with this board's thoughts on it, we're all going to be in Hotlanta sometime in March. Well, maybe all of us, but we'll see. I was going to see if you wanted to set up a tour of that school with Ron Clark. And I was going to have that set up through Radar, if that was something you guys would be interested in. So think about it, let us know, because we'd have to get that planned. But that was interesting to me. That guy is high volume, and he made all the MSBA lawyers very nervous. But that would be something that I thought we might think about. So anyways, so there's that. Dr. Underwood, anything from you on MSBA?
You know, I was at the AI as we tried to investigate the last. I'm flickering. Over the last few years, I think one of them that jumped out at me also was Saturday afternoon, listened to a school district that was training students as paraprofessionals. And so they were starting 9 this year as seniors and paying them to do work in the school district. And so I was able to listen a couple different, one was a professor from Northwest and the other was a neighboring school district, and they'd partnered together to train. They had one in the middle school, the other 8 were in elementary. There would be concern obviously about a high school student working in a high school, but did see that where they were actually taking their courses as a student and then working part of a schedule. And then they were working with the other students to be the other part of the schedule. So in essence, they could have one FTE, but it may be 2 students making that up. And so they were paid a comparable wage to other paraprofessionals as they started off. Somewhat a grow your own type experience, but was very creative. I believe that we're going to continue to struggle to find staff and employees, and an opportunity for a win-win, really. Our students to get experience, they get paid, but we also are able to fill positions that I know as I look at our ladies that we struggle with and will, I believe, in the future also. So I thought that was somewhat interesting presentation that I saw Saturday.
Okay, Radar.
So I attended the board secretary workshop on Thursday. Always a great workshop to talk to other board secretaries, and you always come away with some refresher, something new, or just a good reminder. I attended a session on staff celebrations, trying to get some new ideas. While I did come away with some stuff, I feel like we do an excellent job here as well, because we had some things to offer. So yeah, it was great. I attended some other sessions that the other board members mentioned, so it's a good conference.
Okay. Well, good. I would be interested to find out what the other staff members that went to the AI, see what they thought about it in the long run. Because I know we had some staff members there. Did any of you show up for the AI that are in the room?
We did have 2 principals and 1 instructional coach attend. So we did have 3 other people there from Belton.
So, okay, perfect. Well, once again, that was a good one. So hopefully we will get something out of it in Atlanta. Some committee updates. We'll start with the Delegate Assembly, Missouri School Boards Association. Not much more probably on MSBA, but I know, Mary, I am sorry that you had such a hard delegate assembly, but go on with MSBA.
Okay, well, we only had 3 new advocacy platforms, and there was much discussion for all 3. It was not a consent agenda that we just said yes. We had to pull them all apart, and 3 for 3, we still voted to accept them without amendments. One was for cell phone policy. We're going to leave that to the discretion of the districts. And then one was on free lunch and breakfast for everyone, and that for all students. And that was mostly about our advocacy platform, was to look at the federal level for those things to occur. But that way our lobbyists can advocate for those. And a lot of discussion there. There were 117 delegates, and 4 delegates voted no on that one, which I thought was interesting to do that. And then the other one was I just said cell phone policy, and gosh, now I just lost the third one. And it didn't have much discussion, and there were no amendment pieces for that. There was some issues with grammar. That's why I'm not remembering it. So, but they all went through, and they'll be back in the spring, and we won't change anything. They'll be discussed, and then we'll elect our new officers in the spring at the assembly.
Okay. Belton Cares.
So they had a meeting while we were at the conference, but I do know there was a CTC meeting. Was it yesterday, day before? I think there was some discussion around middle school, correct?
Well, it was about all.
Right, but there was a little bit of, discussion around middle school and maybe some additional efforts that are going to be needed there. It's a tough age. And then also there is, as Mary had mentioned earlier, the town hall meeting that is going to be on November 4th at 5:30. If anybody could make that, that would be great. But yeah, did Sandy give you any additional notes from the meeting that we missed?
Well, we have a board meeting in addition to the general meeting, so I do get additional information. And she's kind of covered it. The only drawback with that November 4th, that's Monday Night Football in Kansas City. So we didn't realize that when we scheduled. So we're hoping that people will, they won't miss much of it. It's not till 7:30. This starts at 5:30. So we're also back with our youth forum. We're starting to meet with those kiddos next Thursday. And we'll get that put together and we'll have that community meeting come spring where those young people will get to have their voices heard and see if any changes can be made from there. We made $500 on the 5K, which was not big bucks because our big idea was to get families together to do something for Red Ribbon Week. Next Wednesday is Red Out Day at the high school. And SAD is working on, and student council together, I believe, to everybody wear red. Every student in the district will get a red wristband. And that's kind of the update for Red Ribbon Week. So between the two of us, I think we got it.
All righty. Educational Foundation.
Oh, that's me.
It's the Mary Cummings show.
The big thing right now is the Turkey Bowl. That is happening on Saturday, November 9th. We're hoping that we see lots of teams, lots of fun. And I always say Karen knows way more about it than I do because she's lived it for a long time. But it's a fun night. So hopefully we can get some teams gathered there. And if you want to volunteer at the foundation, they always need volunteers. And if you want to donate, they always need donations too. So that's it for the foundation.
All righty. City of Belton, anything? Nope. All righty. Anything else for the good of the cause? Chair will accept a motion.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none. Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
we are adjourned.